The conference hall fell silent as the holographic display showed another star system going dark. High Arbiter Zelenth watched the red indicators spread across the map like a disease. 12 colonies in 3 weeks. Millions of lives simply vanished, their distress signals cutting off mid-transmission. The Vorex swarm has reached the outer rim, Commander Vesh announced, his voice tight with controlled fear. At their current speed, they will reach our core worlds in 40 days. Zelenth looked around the circular chamber at the representatives of 7 species. The Kalith Confederation had existed for 300 years without major conflict. They built museums, not warships. They studied art, not tactics. Their military existed only to patrol trade routes and discourage pirates. Nothing in their peaceful history prepared them for this. The Vorex came without warning. They did not communicate. They did not negotiate. They simply consumed everything in their path. Planets stripped bare, stations dissolved into component atoms. Every attempt at contact met with silence followed by attack. The Confederation fleet engaged them at the border. 40 ships went to face the swarm. 3 escaped. We cannot win this war, Zelenth said quietly. The words felt like surrender, but she was done lying to herself. Our weapons barely scratch their hull plating. They adapt to every strategy within hours. We need help. From whom? Asked Ambassador Telric, his crystalline body pulsing with agitation. We are the largest alliance in this sector. There is no one stronger. There might be, Vesh said. He activated a different display. Ancient text scrolled across the air, written in a dozen dead languages. The Crucible Beacon. Built by the predecessors 2 million years ago. According to records, it was designed to call for aid in times of extinction-level threats. A myth, Telric scoffed. Children's tales? We found it, Vesh countered. Buried in the Threshold Station archives. The device is real. It still functions. The question is whether anyone will answer. Zelenth studied the ancient mechanism in the hologram. It looked like a spiral of crystallized light frozen in impossible geometries. The predecessors were gone now, ascended to higher dimensions or extinct. No one knew which. But their technology worked on principles the Confederation barely understood. What does it do? She asked. It broadcasts our location, our situation, and our data across faster-than-light channels that should not exist, Vesh explained. According to the texts, it reaches civilizations that evolved past our understanding. The great powers of the galaxy, the ones who watch but do not interfere unless absolutely necessary. And you think they will come? For us? The beacon has never been activated in recorded history, Vesh said. But the predecessors built it for a reason. They believed someone would answer. Zelenth made her decision. Activate it. Send everything. Our history, our culture. Tactical data on the Vorex, coordinates for emergency jump points. Make them understand what we face. It will take 3 days to charge the beacon, Vesh warned. And it will drain the power core of Threshold Station completely. We will be defenseless. We are already defenseless, Zelenth replied. The evacuation of Threshold Station took 2 days. Thousands of personnel packed into transport ships, abandoning the massive defensive platform that guarded the Confederation's border. Only a skeleton crew remained to operate the beacon. Vesh stayed personally, refusing to leave until the signal transmitted. Zelenth watched from the safety of the flagship, 3 light hours away. Through the viewscreen, Threshold Station looked small and fragile against the darkness of space. Beyond it, sensor readings showed the Vorex advance. They moved like a living tide, their biomechanical ships pulsing with organic energy. Beacon charging to maximum, Vesh reported over the comm channel. 70%. 80%. 95%. The moment stretched. Zelenth found herself praying to gods her people abandoned centuries ago. Please, let someone hear us. Let someone care. 100%. Activating now. Light erupted from Threshold Station. Not normal light that photons or energy created. This was something else. Something that hurt to look at even through filtered screens. The beacon twisted space itself, punching through dimensions that should not connect. The signal poured outward at speeds that made faster-than-light travel look slow. Then it was gone. The light vanished. Threshold Station went dark, its power exhausted. Signal transmitted, Vesh said. Now we wait. They waited for 5 days. The Vorex continued their advance, now only 1 jump away from Confederation core systems. Military analysts gave them 2 weeks before the capital fell. Maybe 3 if they sacrificed the outer colonies to buy time. No response came from the beacon. No ancient powers descended from the stars. No saviors arrived with advanced technology and gentle wisdom. It was a myth, after all, Telric said bitterly during the emergency council session. We wasted our only defensive station on fairy tales. We should surrender, suggested another delegate. Offer them whatever they want. Tribute, servitude, anything but extermination. They do not want anything, Vesh said tiredly.
They want biomass.
They want resources. They want to grow. We cannot negotiate with hunger. Zalanth said nothing. She stared at reports of refugee ships fleeing deeper into Confederation space, families abandoning their homes, children asking when they could go back. She had no answers for them. On the 6th day, as the Vorex fleet gathered at the threshold jump point, the response finally arrived. It was not what anyone expected. No grand armada, no ancient vessel of impossible design, just a simple text transmission on standard frequencies. The message was brief, written in flawless Confederation standard language. Received your beacon. Analyzing. Tactical data. Vorex swarm identified. Terran Expeditionary Force. Dispatching. Provide real-time enemy positions and jump. Coordinates do not engage until we arrive. Terran? Telric looked confused. That designation is not in our databases. Check the outer rim survey data, Vesh ordered. His hands moved quickly across his console. There, a species that calls themselves humans. Limited contact 40 years ago during the expansion surveys. Classified as pre-interstellar. How did they receive our signal? More importantly, Zealand said, reading the message again, look at the tone. They are not asking what we need. They are not promising to help. They are giving orders. The message had no warmth, no expression of sympathy or solidarity. It read like a military briefing, cold, efficient, professional. Should we respond? Vesh asked. Send them everything they requested, Zelanth ordered. If they are willing to come, we cannot afford to refuse. 3 more days passed. The Vorex crossed into Confederation space. They hit the colony of Methris Prime first, home to 200 million souls. Within 6 hours, the planet went silent. Orbital sensors showed the swarm stripping the world bare, consuming everything down to the bedrock. The Confederation fleet engaged them at Methris Secundus. 20 ships against the swarm's hundreds. It was a massacre. The Vorex adapted to their weapons within minutes, their hulls shifting to deflect energy blasts and kinetic rounds. Commander Vesh prepared for the final stand at Kalith Prime itself. They would die defending their homeworld. At least they would die fighting. Then the sensors screamed. Multiple jump signatures appeared at the system's edge. Not the organic distortions the Vorex created. These were clean, precise military-grade faster-than-light transitions. 40 ships emerged from the darkness. They were not beautiful. They were not elegant. They were angular and scarred, covered in weapon batteries and armor plating. Battle damage marked their hulls, old wounds welded over but never polished away. The lead ship transmitted on all frequencies. A human voice, female, speaking with absolute certainty. This is Admiral Helena Cross of the Terran Expeditionary Force. We have your position. Beginning combat operations. Recommend all Confederation vessels withdraw to minimum safe distance. Zealanth stared at the ships on her screen. They moved with predatory purpose, already accelerating toward the Vorex position. What have we done? She whispered. The human fleet moved like wolves circling prey. Admiral Helena Cross stood on the bridge of the TES Indomitable, watching tactical displays with her one good eye. The other was cybernetic, glowing faintly blue as it processed targeting data faster than organic tissue could manage. She earned that replacement 30 years ago fighting the Creel insurgency. The scar tissue around it reminded her daily that hesitation got people killed. Enemy composition confirmed, her tactical officer reported. Vorex Swarm Mark 7 configuration. Approximately 400 biomechanical vessels, mass ranging from frigate to dreadnought equivalent. They are adapting their formation. They know we are here. Good, Cross said. Let them know. All ships combat formation Delta. Prepare Alpha strike package. No warning shots. We hit them with everything immediately. Her communications officer looked uncertain. Ma'am, the Confederation forces are requesting coordination protocols. They want to assist. Tell them to stay back, Cross ordered. Minimum 50,000 kilometers. If they get closer, they die. Not from the enemy. From our weapons. The comm officer swallowed hard but relayed the message. On the secondary display, Cross watched the Confederation ships awkwardly pulling back. They moved like cargo haulers, slow and uncertain. Their idea of military formation was staying in visual range of each other. Pathetic. Captain Marcus Chen appeared on her command screen, transmitted from the assault carrier Thermopylae. His ship held 2,000 Marines ready for deployment. Behind him, racks of weapons lined the walls. Cross recognized equipment from 6 different human conflicts. Chen never threw away anything that killed effectively. "We ready, Admiral?" Chen asked. He was younger than Cross, only 43, but his eyes held the same tired weight. "Too many battles, too many friends buried. We are ready," Cross confirmed. "Vanguard Squadron, begin your run. Let us see how tough they really are." 12 human destroyers accelerated to attack speed. They moved in perfect coordination, a dance practiced through countless engagements. The Vorex responded immediately, their organic ships pulsing with bioluminescent signals as they coordinated defense. Their formation shifted to intercept. The destroyers opened fire at maximum range. Not with energy weapons or conventional missiles. They launched relativistic kinetic penetrators. Dense metal slugs accelerated to 30% light speed. The impacts released energy equivalent to nuclear weapons. 6 Vorex ships simply vanished, torn apart by physics itself. The swarm adapted instantly. Their hulls rippled and changed, growing denser, redistributing mass to ablate kinetic impacts. The next volley hit with less effect. This was what the Confederation described. "The Vorex learned frighteningly fast." "Predictable," Cross muttered. All ships switched to package beta. Fire. The human fleet unleashed a different weapon. Missiles, but not explosive ones. These carried biological payloads, engineered specifically from the data the Confederation provided. Viruses designed to attack Vorex cellular structure. Nanomachines programmed to dismantle their organic components at the molecular level. The missiles penetrated deep into the swarm before detonating. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then Vorex ships began to convulse. Their organic hulls blistered and ruptured. Fluids vented into space. Entire vessels went dark as their biological systems collapsed. The Confederation channel exploded with chatter, shock, horror, disbelief. "They are using biological weapons." High Arbiter Zelenth transmitted, her voice shaking. "That is prohibited under galactic law." "They cannot—" "Galactic law?" Cross interrupted. "We are not signatories to your laws. We fight to win. Either watch and learn or shut up and stay out of our way." She cut the channel before Zelenth could respond. On the tactical display, the Vorex were already adapting to the bioweapons, their immune systems evolving in real time. Impressive. Useless, but impressive. "Package Gamma." Cross ordered. Nuclear-pumped X-ray lasers. Full spread. The human dreadnoughts fired. Nuclear warheads detonated in the space between fleets, but not to create explosions. The detonations pumped energy into lacing rods, creating beams of focused X-ray radiation. The invisible beams cut through Vorex ships like tissue paper. Radiation flooded their interiors, killing organic components faster than they could regenerate. 80 Vorex vessels died in 30 seconds. The swarm broke formation, scattering in confusion. They had never encountered an enemy like this. One that switched weapons faster than they could adapt. One that had no hesitation. No mercy, no restraint. "Ma'am, we are receiving multiple hails from the Confederation fleet," the COM officer reported. "They are demanding we cease biological and nuclear attacks. They say we are committing war crimes." Cross laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. "War crimes. Tell them to check their planet Methris Prime. 200 million dead in 6 hours. Ask them what the Vorex were charged with." She paused. "Actually, do not tell them anything. Just mute their channel. I am tired of listening." The battle continued for 3 hours. The humans rotated their attack methods constantly, never using the same weapon twice in succession. Kinetic rounds, plasma lances, antimatter warheads, gravity manipulation devices that crushed Vorex ships like paper. Every weapon was brutal, efficient, and completely without restraint. When a damaged Vorex vessel tried to flee, human fighters pursued it. They disabled its engines and dragged it back to the Thermopylae. Chen's Marines boarded it while it still writhed with dying organic systems. Zelenth watched in horror from her flagship. The humans cut into the Vorex ship like surgeons, extracting living tissue samples while the vessel screamed on electromagnetic frequencies. They did not study it peacefully. They vivisected it. Alive. They are torturing it, Commander Vesh said quietly. Why? What purpose does this serve? Intelligence gathering, the Confederation xenobiologist answered, her voice hollow. They are mapping its neural structure, learning how it thinks, how it communicates, how to kill it more efficiently. Within an hour, the Vorex node was dead. Chen transmitted his findings to every human ship. New tactical data, new vulnerabilities. The fleet adjusted their weapons accordingly. The next wave of attacks was even more devastating. By the time the battle ended, 320 Vorex vessels were destroyed. The remaining 80 fled through emergency jump points, scattering in random directions. The humans let them go. They had already achieved their objective. The human fleet regrouped efficiently, damage repair crews already working. They lost 3 destroyers and 1 frigate. Acceptable losses in their calculations. The efficiency was terrifying. Zelenth could not stay silent anymore. She opened a direct channel to Cross. Admiral, we need to talk. Your methods they are excessive. The Vorex are defeated here. We can pursue diplomatic solutions now. Cross's scarred face filled the screen. Her human features looked alien in their hardness. No sympathy, no doubt. Just cold certainty. Diplomatic solutions? Cross repeated. You called us because you were dying. We came, we killed your enemy. That is what you get. Not friendship, not alliance, results, but your weapons, the biological agents, the torture of that captured ship. This is not how civilized species conduct war. Civilized? Cross leaned forward. Let me tell you about civilization, Arbiter. We were civilized once. We tried negotiation. We tried restraint. We tried being the good people. Every time it got us killed. Every time the enemy exploited our mercy and murdered us for it. We learned. Painfully. Slowly. But we learned. You learned to become monsters, Zelenth whispered. No. Cross corrected. We learned to become survivors. There is a difference. Monsters kill for pleasure. We kill because it is necessary, because the galaxy does not reward the gentle or the kind. It rewards the strong and the ruthless. What do you want from us? Cross smiled. It did not reach her eyes. Right now, nothing. We are here to eliminate the Vorex threat. That serves our interests as much as yours. When this is over, we will discuss terms. Until then, stay out of our way and let us work. The channel closed. Zelenth sat back in her command chair, feeling suddenly cold despite the regulated temperature. She looked at Vesh. We called for allies, she said quietly. What did we get instead? Vesh stared at the human ships on the display. They were already moving to their next objective, hunting the remaining Vorex with predatory patience. I do not know, he admitted, but I am afraid to find out. On the Indomitable, Cross returned her attention to the tactical map. The Vorex were scattered but not destroyed. This would take time. She pulled up intelligence reports, studying Confederation space with strategic interest. Weak defenses, rich resources, naive population. If they survived this war, they would need protection. Whether they wanted it or not, Chen appeared on her screen again. Admiral, Marines have finished analysis of the Vorex specimen. We have identified their command and control structure. We can track the Hive Queen. Good, Cross said. Prepare the fleet for deep strike operations. We are going to cut off the head. The Confederation will object, Chen noted. This will take us deep into contested space. We will be using their territory as a staging ground. They will object, Cross agreed. They will also comply. They have no choice. Not anymore. She killed the channel and allowed herself one moment of reflection. Humanity did not want to be this way. The human forward operating base looked like a wound on the surface of Methris Secundus. Prefabricated structures spread across the landscape in precise geometric patterns. Defense turrets rotated constantly, scanning for threats. Walls of reinforced material surrounded the perimeter, designed to withstand orbital bombardment. The humans built it in 72 hours. High Arbiter Zelenth walked through the main gate with Commander Vesh and a small diplomatic delegation. Human soldiers watched them pass, hands never far from their weapons. Every human carried a sidearm. Every single one. Even the medical personnel. Even the engineers. It was their culture made visible. Welcome to Firebase Anvil, Captain Marcus Chen greeted them. He wore combat armor even here, in what should be a safe zone. Admiral Cross is waiting in the command center. This way. The delegation followed him through the base. Zealanth observed everything. Human equipment was functional, not beautiful. Scratched, dented, repaired many times but never replaced. They used things until they broke, then fixed them and used them again. Waste was apparently a concept they could not afford. Soldiers trained in an open area. They practiced hand-to-hand combat with brutal efficiency. No sport, no art. Just techniques designed to kill quickly. Some wore prosthetic limbs. Others had visible scars. No one seemed bothered by their injuries. They simply adapted and continued. "How many wars have your people fought?" Vesh asked Chen carefully. Chen thought about it. "Major conflicts? Maybe 50 since we reached the stars. But if you count everything from our history on Earth?" He shrugged. "Thousands. We have been fighting since we learned to pick up rocks. We just got better weapons over time." "That is horrible," Zealanth said quietly. "That is humanity," Chen replied without emotion. "We did not choose it. Evolution made us competitive. Scarcity made us aggressive. Our own planet tried to kill us for millions of years before we even built cities. We learned to fight or we died. Most species that did not fight went extinct." They entered the command center. Admiral Cross stood before a massive holographic display showing Vorek's movements across 3 sectors. She studied it with the intensity of a predator tracking prey. When she noticed the delegation, she gestured to chairs. "Sit. We have much to discuss." "Admiral," Zealanth began carefully, "we came to understand your people better, to find common ground. We are grateful for your assistance, but your methods concern us deeply." "My methods win wars," Cross said bluntly. "Your methods got you nearly exterminated. Which approach would you prefer?" "There must be a middle ground. A way to fight without becoming monsters." Cross pulled up a different display. Earth appeared, rotating slowly. Continents covered in cities, oceans reflecting sunlight, beautiful from space. Then she switched to historical images, battlefields, ruined cities, mushroom clouds rising over vaporized populations, bodies stacked like firewood. The images cycled through thousands of years of human conflict. "This is our history," Cross said quietly. "Every inch of our planet was a battlefield at some point. We fought over territory, resources, religion, politics, ideas. We created weapons that could destroy our entire species and nearly used them. Multiple times. We are not proud of this, but we survived it." She changed the display again. Now it showed other species. Graceful, peaceful civilizations. Then those same species extinct, their worlds empty. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds. "This is what happens to peaceful species in a hostile galaxy," Cross continued. "They die. They get conquered or consumed or enslaved. The universe does not reward kindness. It rewards strength." Ambassador Telric spoke up, his crystalline voice sharp. "So you became the very monsters you fought against?" "No," Cross corrected. "We became too dangerous to attack. There is a difference. Monsters kill randomly. We kill strategically. We follow rules of engagement. We protect our own. We honor our treaties. But we do not hesitate when survival is at stake." "Can you show us more of your history?" Zealanth asked. "We need to understand what shaped you." Cross hesitated, then nodded. "Chen, give them access to the cultural database, limited classification. Let them see who we really are." For the next several hours, the Confederation delegation reviewed human history. They started with ancient times and worked forward. Tribal warfare. The rise and fall of empires. World wars that killed millions. The nuclear age that nearly ended everything. First contact with other human colonies that led to interstellar conflicts. What disturbed Zealanth most was not the violence itself. It was the documentation. Humans recorded everything. Every battle had detailed analysis. Every weapon had specifications and tactical applications. Every victory and defeat was studied, learned from, incorporated into doctrine. They treated warfare as a science, constantly improving their methods. They teach this to children. Vesh said, horrified. He pulled up human educational materials. Schools included military history as core curriculum. Students learned strategy and tactics alongside mathematics and literature. They trained their entire population for war. Not quite, a human voice said behind them. They turned to find a young woman in medical corps uniform. She smiled politely. I am Dr. Sarah Amari. I was asked to help you understand our culture. You train children to fight, Telric accused. We prepare them for reality, Amari corrected. Look at your own situation. Your peaceful society was nearly destroyed in weeks. If you taught your children to think strategically, to understand conflict, to be ready for threats, maybe you would have survived without calling for help. That is a terrible way to live, Zelenth said. It is, Amari agreed. I wish we could be explorers and artists and dreamers. Many humans do. But we cannot afford to be naive. Every time we relaxed our guard, enemies took advantage. We learned to stay vigilant. She pulled up more data. Human exploration missions, all heavily armed, scientific expeditions with military escorts, diplomatic vessels bristling with weapons. Even civilian ships carried armaments. You trust no one, Vesh observed. We verify everyone, Amari replied. Trust is earned through time and testing. The Vorex, for instance. You tried diplomacy. We knew better. How? Zelenth demanded. How did you know? Amari's expression became cold. Because we met them 80 years ago. They attacked a human mining colony on the edge of our space, killed 12,000 people, consumed the entire station. We tracked them back to their breeding grounds and exterminated them. Every single one. We thought we got them all. The room went silent. Zelenth felt ice in her stomach. You committed genocide? We eliminated a species that gave us no choice, Amari said. They did not negotiate, they did not retreat. They attacked, adapted, and consumed, so we killed them. Completely. We used biological weapons, nuclear saturation, relativistic bombardment. Whatever worked. We made sure they could never threaten humanity again. But they survived, Vesh said. Obviously. Obviously, Amari agreed. Some breeding population escaped our detection. They multiplied in deep space and came back stronger. This is why we do not do half measures. When something threatens our survival, we erase it from existence. Your Vorex problem is our cleanup operation. And after? Zelenth asked quietly. After the Vorex are gone, what happens to us? Amari looked uncomfortable for the first time. That is above my clearance level, but I can tell you this. Humanity protects its interests. Your space borders ours. If you fall to another threat, we face that threat next. We will not allow that. So you will occupy us. Control us. We will defend you, Amari said carefully. Whether you want it or not. Commander Vesh worked on a terminal in the corner. He pulled up something and went pale. Zelenth, you need to see this. She moved to his screen. Classified human files. Somehow accessed. Strategic planning documents. Contingency protocols. Threat assessments. Her blood ran cold as she read. The humans had complete invasion plans for Confederation space. Detailed. Updated regularly. They identified key military assets, economic centers, political leadership. They calculated how long conquest would take. 14 days with current force deployment, 7 days if they committed their full military. They were planning to invade us, Vesh whispered. No, Zelenth corrected, reading further. They were planning for every possibility. Look, they have defensive plans too. Trade agreements. Cultural exchange programs. They planned for friendship, for alliance, for war, for betrayal, for everything. Amari appeared behind them. You should not have accessed those files. But yes, we plan for all contingencies, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. It is how we survive. This is madness, Telric said. You see enemies everywhere. We see potential threats and prepare accordingly, Amari replied. When the Kryl rebellion happened, we had plans ready. When the Xanthus hive attacked, we had countermeasures prepared. When your beacon called, we already had Vorex extermination protocols from 80 years ago. This is why we survive. This is why you called us. She softened slightly. I know this is hard to understand. Your species evolved in gentler circumstances. You had benefactors who protected you during development. You grew up in a stable region of space. You never faced existential threats until now. Humanity had none of those advantages. We clawed our way up alone. We learned the hard way that the galaxy is hostile, and only the prepared survive. The Vorex Queen's Nest world hung in the darkness between stars. No sun warmed it, no planets orbited nearby. It drifted alone in the void. A massive organic structure that had been a planet once. Now it was something else. The Vorex consumed the original world and rebuilt it as a living hive. Billions of organisms moved across its surface like blood cells through veins. Admiral Helena Cross studied the sensor readings from the bridge of the Indomitable. The human fleet assembled in attack formation, 40 ships against a planet-sized target. Mathematically, it should be impossible. But humans stopped believing in impossible a long time ago. Intelligence assessment? She asked. The Queen is definitely here, her tactical officer reported. We are detecting the command frequency she uses to coordinate the swarm. Eliminate her and the remaining Vorex will lose cohesion. They will still be dangerous but uncoordinated. Population estimate? Conservative estimate puts Vorex numbers at 80 billion on the surface. Maybe twice that in the planet's interior. The entire structure is a military installation. No civilians. No non-combatants. Just soldiers and drones serving the Queen. Cross nodded slowly. 80 billion lives. Even Vorex lives had some value philosophically. But philosophy was a luxury humanity could not afford. She thought of Methris Prime, 200 million dead. She thought of the human colony 80 years ago, 12,000 consumed. She thought of the Confederation species facing extinction. All ships prepare planet-cracking ordnance, she ordered. We are not here to occupy. We are here to erase. On the Confederation flagship, High Arbiter Zelenth listened to the intercepted human communications with growing horror. Commander Vesh worked frantically at his console. They are going to destroy the entire planet, he said. Not just the Queen. Everything. They brought weapons that can shatter a world. We have to stop them, Zelenth said. She opened a channel to Cross. Admiral, you cannot do this. There must be another way. Destroy the Queen, yes, but the entire planet? That is genocide on an unimaginable scale. Cross's face appeared on the screen. She looked tired. Arbiter, we have had this conversation. The Vorex do not surrender. They do not negotiate. They adapt and they grow and they come back. 80 years ago, we thought we eliminated them. We were wrong. I will not make that mistake twice. There are billions of lives on that world. There were billions of lives on the worlds they consumed, Cross countered. Your colonies. Our colonies. They showed no mercy. They expected none. This is not cruelty. This is certainty. At least try to communicate, Zelenth pleaded. They might be intelligent. They might understand reason if given the chance. Cross was quiet for a moment. Then she surprised Zelenth. Fine, one attempt. If they show genuine willingness to coexist peacefully, we will reconsider. But if they show any sign of hostility or deception, we proceed with total elimination. Agreed? Agreed, Zelenth said quickly, hoping desperately that some connection could be made. Cross opened a communication channel on all frequencies, broadcasting toward the Nest world in every language the humans knew, including Vorex biochemical signals decoded from captured specimens. Vorex Queen, this is Admiral Helena Cross of the Terran Expeditionary Force. We have the capability to destroy you and your entire species. We are prepared to do so. However, we are offering one chance for dialogue. Respond within 1 hour or face extermination. Silence stretched. Minutes passed with no response. Then finally something came back. Not words. Not language as the Confederation understood it. But patterns. Mathematical sequences. Chemical formulas. The Vorex were trying to communicate. The human xenolinguistics team worked frantically to decode the message. It took 30 minutes. When the translation appeared, it was simple and devastating. We, hunger. We, grow. You, food. All food negotiate impossible. Nature compels. A second message followed, more complex. It contained star charts, Vorex expansion plans. They intended to consume everything in 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. Trillions of lives. Thousands of species, everything. But then something unexpected appeared in the transmission. A question, formed carefully in mathematical logic. You, strong, teach, hunger, control, possible. The bridge went silent. The Vorex Queen was asking if they could be changed. If their nature could be altered. If there was a way to exist without consuming everything. Zelenth felt hope surge. They want help. They are asking us to save them from themselves. Admiral, this changes everything. Cross studied the message for a long time. Her expression was unreadable. Finally, she spoke. Captain Chen, your assessment? Chen appeared on a split screen. It is a trap. They are buying time to adapt, or they are genuinely asking for help, and will inevitably fail to control their nature. Either way, they remain an existential threat. Dr. Amari? Cross asked. The medical officer appeared. She looked conflicted. Theoretically, we could modify their biology, suppress their hunger drives, make them able to coexist with other species. It would take years, decades, centuries maybe, and there is no guarantee of success. They could relapse. They could deceive us. They could learn from us and become even more dangerous. Give me a probability, Cross demanded. Amari calculated silently. 20% chance of successful integration. 80% chance they remain a threat or become a worse one. Those are generous estimates. Cross turned to Zelenth. You heard my people. 20% success rate. That means 80% chance your grandchildren face the Vorex again, but smarter and more dangerous because we tried to save them. Is that acceptable to you? Zelenth wanted to say yes. Every fiber of her idealistic nature screamed to give them a chance. But she thought of Methris Prime, of the colonies that went silent, of the children asking when they could go home. She thought of her grandchildren facing an enemy that learned from humanity's mercy. She could not finish the sentence. This is why we do not hesitate, Cross said quietly, because mercy gets people killed. Not today, not tomorrow, but eventually. Every time we showed mercy to an enemy that could not change their nature, they came back stronger. We learned that lesson in blood. Multiple times. I will not teach it again. She turned to her weapons officer. All ships commence planetary bombardment. Total saturation. Nothing survives. Wait, Zelenth shouted. There must be another way. But the human fleet was already firing. Missiles launched by the thousands. Kinetic penetrators accelerated to relativistic speeds. Nuclear weapons by the hundreds. The humans held nothing back. Every ship emptied its magazines, pouring destruction onto the nest world below. The Vorex fought back. The planet itself became a weapon, launching organic projectiles and biological attacks. Swarms of fighter-sized organisms erupted from the surface. The battle was apocalyptic in scale, but humanity fought wars of extinction before. They knew how to kill a world. The surface of the nest planet began to crack. Massive fissures opened, venting atmosphere and organic matter into space. The humans targeted those cracks with focused bombardment, driving deeper, seeking the planet's core. Captain Chen deployed his Marines to handle the Vorex organisms that reached human ships. Boarding actions happened across the fleet. Humans fought hand-to-hand in corridors, using weapons that would have been war crimes in any other context. Chen himself led teams that cleared infested sections, leaving nothing but sterilized metal behind. The battle lasted 6 hours. By the end, the nest world was breaking apart. Massive chunks of planetary mass drifted in the void, glowing with residual heat from nuclear fire. The Vorex Queen's signal went silent, drowned in the death of her world. The human fleet regrouped, damaged but victorious. They lost 8 ships, 1,500 personnel dead, acceptable losses in their calculations. The Vorex were extinct. Zelenth watched it all from her flagship, too far away to intervene. When the bombardment finally stopped, she felt hollow, empty. The Vorex were monsters. They killed billions. They deserved punishment. But did they deserve this? Complete extinction? Not a single survivor? Not even a specimen for study? It is done, Cross reported on the comm channel. The Vorex are eliminated from this galaxy. Your species is safe. We will begin withdrawal preparations. You murdered them, Zelenth said quietly. They asked for help and you murdered them. I killed them before they killed you, Cross corrected. That is not murder. That is war. And in war, second chances are luxuries that get your own people killed. What if you are wrong? What if we could have saved them? Cross's expression softened slightly. Just for a moment. Then I carry that weight. I add it to all the other weights I carry. But your children live. Your species survives. That is worth my guilt. She paused, then added more quietly. You think we enjoy this? You think we do not question ourselves? Every human officer on this fleet wishes we could have saved the Vorax. Wishes we could have found another way. But wishes do not stop threats. Action does. We act so others can keep wishing. The channel closed. Zalanth sat in silence, processing the magnitude of what happened. An entire species gone, 80 billion lives, erased from existence in 6 hours. Commander Vesh approached her carefully. Zalanth, we have a problem. Our intelligence team analyzed the human fleet composition. They used less than 15% of their maximum firepower. This was a minor operation for them. What? 3 months after the Vorax extinction, the Kalith Confederation learned what humanity's protection really meant. Human ships remained in their space not as guests but as permanent fixtures. Defense stations appeared around key worlds, massive constructs bristling with weapons that could crack planets. Human personnel staffed them. Human protocols governed them. The Confederation was not consulted. High Arbiter Zalanth sat in her office on Kalith Prime, reviewing the latest reports. Trade agreements that heavily favored human interests. Technology exchange programs where humanity took far more than they gave. Immigration policies that allowed humans to settle Confederation worlds but strictly limited Confederation citizens traveling to human space. Military coordination that meant Confederation forces answered to human commanders. They were being absorbed, slowly, carefully, but inevitably. Commander Vesh entered without knocking. He looked exhausted. The Council wants answers. Why are human military bases expanding? Why are they recruiting our citizens into their armed forces? Why does every decision now require human approval? Because we have no choice, Zalanth said quietly. If we resist, we become enemies. If we become enemies, we become extinct. The Vorax showed us what happens to humanity's enemies. So we just surrender, accept occupation? It is not occupation, Zalanth said, but the words felt hollow. It is mutual defense, partnership, alliance. Under terms they dictate completely, Vesh pointed out. Zalanth, our intelligence services discovered something. Human analysts have been studying our culture, our economy, our political structures. They are integrating us into their sphere of influence. Within 10 years, we will be a client state. Within 20, we might not even be recognized as independent. I know, Zalanth admitted. I read the same reports. And you accept this? What choice do we have? She demanded. Fight them? We could not defeat the Vorax. Humanity destroyed the Vorax in days. If we resist, they will crush us. If we are lucky, they will simply remove our leadership and install compliant replacements. If we are unlucky, they will do to us what they did to the Nest World. Vesh had no answer to that. They both knew she was right. A communication alert interrupted them. Admiral Cross requesting a meeting. Zalanth accepted. The human admiral appeared on the holographic display as sharp and dangerous as ever. Arbiter, Cross greeted her formally. We need to discuss the terms of our ongoing arrangement. Arrangement, Zalanth repeated. Is that what you call it? What would you call it? Cross asked genuinely. Occupation? Conquest? Subjugation? Cross considered this. I can understand why you see it that way. But let me be clear about our intentions. We are not here to destroy your culture or enslave your people. We are here to ensure your space remains stable and secure. For your benefit, Vesh interjected. Yes, Cross agreed without hesitation. For our benefit, your territory borders ours. If you fall to another threat, we face that threat next. We cannot allow that. So we establish bases. We integrate our militaries. We create economic dependencies that ensure you remain aligned with human interests. This is pragmatic strategy. It is conquest without calling it conquest, Zalanth said. No, Cross corrected. Conquest would have been faster, cheaper, more efficient. We could have taken your space in 2 weeks with minimal casualties. We chose not to. We chose to preserve your autonomy where possible, to maintain your political structures, to allow you dignity, but we will not allow you to become a vulnerability. She pulled up strategic displays showing the region of space around both their territories. Look, 3 other major powers within jump range. 2 of them expansionist. 1 of them experiencing internal instability that could lead to aggression. If you fall to any of them, our border becomes indefensible. We cannot allow that strategic weakness. So you create us as a buffer state, Vesh said. We are shields for your territory. You are allies, Cross insisted.
Junior allies, yes.
But allies nonetheless. You receive our protection, our technology, our trade. In exchange, you accept our oversight and coordination. This is not slavery. This is reality. What if we refuse? Zelenth asked. What if we tell you to leave? Cross's expression did not change. Then we leave? And you face the next threat alone. And you die. And we come back to secure the strategic territory anyway. But this time we deal with whatever killed you first. It is messy, expensive, and you are dead. Or you accept our terms now, you live, and we build something stable together. The calculation was brutal in its simplicity. Submit or perish. Not today, but eventually. The choice was not freedom or subjugation. It was subjugation or extinction. This is not fair, Zelenth said quietly. Fair is a concept for peacetime, Cross replied. We are always at war. If not with you, then with someone. The galaxy is hostile. The strong survive. The weak are consumed. We are offering you the chance to be strong by aligning with us. That is more than most conquerors offer. Before Zelenth could respond, alarms screamed across the command center. Sensor alerts. Emergency protocols activating. Vesh pulled up the data and went pale. Vorek's signature, he said. Deep space. Not from the Nest world. A different group. Cross's expression hardened. Location? Outer Rim. Sector 7. They just emerged from faster-than-light travel. Multiple contacts. Maybe 100 ships. Impossible, Cross said. We wiped them out. Apparently not completely, Zelenth said. They must have had other nests. Other queens. You missed some. For the first time since they met, Zelenth saw something like concern on Cross's face. The Admiral transmitted rapid orders to her fleet. Human ships throughout Confederation space immediately began mobilizing. The response was instant, practiced, and terrifying in its efficiency. This is what we tried to prevent, Cross said to Zelenth. This is why we do not show mercy. We thought we eliminated them 80 years ago. We were wrong. We thought we got them all 3 months ago. We were wrong again. They keep coming back. This is why we fight the way we fight, because half measures fail. What do you need from us? Zelenth asked. Cross looked surprised. You are offering to help? You said we are allies, Zelenth replied. Junior allies, but allies. If that means anything, we fight together. Something shifted in Cross's expression. Respect, maybe. Or just acknowledgement. Prepare your fleet. Not for frontline combat. You are not ready for that. But for evacuation support, logistics, and defense of civilian populations. We will handle the Voreks. Understood. The channel closed. Vesh looked at Zelenth in shock. We are helping them? After everything? Yes, Zelenth said. Because they are right. The galaxy is hostile. We survive by being useful to stronger powers, and maybe if we prove our value, we earn actual partnership instead of just occupation. The human fleet deployed within hours. 40 ships became 80, as reinforcements jumped in from human space. Then 120. The humans brought their full strength this time, not holding back. They learned their lesson about half measures. The Voreks fought desperately, but they faced an enemy that already exterminated them twice. Humanity did not experiment with tactics. They deployed maximum force immediately. Planet crackers, biological weapons, exotic matter bombs that erased matter from existence. The battle was over in 4 days. Every Voreks ship destroyed. Every organism dead. No prisoners. No mercy, but the humans did not stop there. They sent deep space reconnaissance missions to scan every system within 50 light years, looking for more Voreks nests, more hidden colonies. They would not make the same mistake 3 times. Zelenth watched from Calith Prime as human ships patrolled her space with the authority of owners. She should have been angry, humiliated, insulted, but she felt something else, something she hated to admit. Relief, because the humans were right. Without them, the Confederation would be extinct now. Twice over, they survived only because humanity decided they were worth protecting. That was the new reality. Survival through utility, freedom through submission, peace through overwhelming force. Ambassador Telric visited her office that evening. His crystalline form seemed dimmer than before, as if the light inside him faded. The council is meeting. They want to formalize our status. No more pretending we are equal partners. We are a protectorate of humanity. They want to make it official. How do they vote? Zalinth asked. Unanimously in favor, Telric said bitterly. We choose survival over pride. What other choice is there? None, Zalinth agreed. We called for allies. We received wardens instead, but wardens who keep us alive. That will have to be enough. She pulled up a display showing human expansion across their sector. Blue markers indicating human territory. Green markers showing Confederation space. But the green was fading, blending into blue at the edges. Integration. Absorption. The slow erasure of independence. Our grandchildren will not remember us as free, Telric said. They will remember us as the generation that surrendered. They will remember us as the generation that survived, Zalinth corrected. In a hostile galaxy, that is the only victory that matters. Weeks later, Zalinth visited one of the human bases on a Confederation world. She walked through the compound, observing the mixing of cultures. Human soldiers training Confederation recruits in combat tactics, Confederation engineers learning human technology, children from both species playing together in a recreational area,